Great leaders tend to make great followers. 10 great leaders bring followers along with them to a degree that the followers become leaders. That's the kind of quality we want in our leaders, one that's going to bring us together. Certainly, we see the Holy Spirit's work today. You know, these are just the regular readings of the day. They could fall on the second Tuesday of the 24th week all the time. But it just so happens that the feast day of Cornelius and Cyprian, leaders of the church, Cornelius a pope, Cyprian a bishop, both martyrs, falls on today, when this reading is done, where Paul lays out the characteristics that we look for in our bishops, our priests, and deacons. Those particular characteristics that we're looking for. He even spells out what the rules would be in the first century, of course. Later on is when all clergy took a vow of celibacy, and we determined the discipline of the church. But what is discipline, by the way? What does that conjure up in your head? Discipline. I hope it's not just punishment, although that's most of the time what we talk about when we say we want to discipline our children. It's not the punishment. That's not what discipline is. Discipline is finding the certain parameters through which we're going to follow, the certain way of life we're going to follow, which is why we call the followers of Jesus disciples, from the same root as discipline. In other words, those who pattern their lives according to a certain way. And this is what Cornelius and Cyprian did. I want to share with you some words from a letter of Saint Cyprian, even in the 3rd century when they were martyred, as Cornelius was exiled first. Okay? So he's writing a letter to Cornelius. And he says, on learning of the honor you had won by your witness, we were filled with such joy that we felt ourselves sharers and companions in your praiseworthy achievements. After all, we have the same church, the same mind, the same unbroken harmony. Words cannot express how great was the exultation and delight here when we heard of your good fortune and brave deeds, how you stood out as leader of your brothers in their declaration of faith, while the leaders' confession was enhanced as they declared their faith. You led the way to glory, but you gained many companions in that glory. Being foremost in your readiness to bear witness on behalf of all, you prevailed on your people to become a single witness. You could see this relationship between the leaders and the followers. When the followers follow, they enhance the joy and the spirit of the leader. When the leader leads, he brings the followers into one, and they become a single witness. So let us be that witness to the faith for Jesus. Jesus led, and we are to follow.